Well, that's my Amijah, the 1%. Some of you might know her, and she truly is the exception. I knew the pill didn't work even as I was taking it. I just knew. I guess God said, nope, I want her here. I am so thankful to this day that it didn't work. Where would I be without my Amijah? To sum it up, this pregnancy was really weird. I remember waking up one morning and my house was destroyed. There were Native American books spread all throughout my house and hanging on the wall. There were ramen noodles crunched up, leading a trail to the bathroom where I found all kinds of pots and pans in my bathtub, on my toilet. I mean, they were everywhere. There were alphabet magnets spelling weird things all over the refrigerator. He was wearing my pants and a button-up shirt. They were both on backwards. After I made sure my son was okay, I asked him, what is going on? He replied in a language I had never heard before. He continued speaking in that language until he was taken in by the police and eventually civilly committed to a mental hospital. Looking back, I can clearly see that was demonic. On the outside, I was completely normal. I was excelling at work. I've been working at Olive Garden for 10 years now. My son had perfect attendance at school, and he had great remarks. His teachers always loved him. I even went to church every week, right here at Good News. I was very good at putting on a happy face and acting like everything was okay. However, during service, I would cry and cry and cry some more. People probably thought I was crazy. But I would continually give my life to the Lord week after week after week. And then I would go home and return to Crazyville, where he was, being crazy, walking around the house with a lamp in his hand, singing Mahalia Jackson to my pregnant stomach, eating raw meat, and not sleeping for days. Nobody had any idea what was going on in my home. Even this testimony is an extremely small portion of what was really happening. One night, when I was laying in bed, watching TV, and I was smoking a blunt, I clearly heard God say in my head, "Go now." I didn't know if I was just high or what, but it happened 3 times before I got the urgency in my spirit that if I didn't leave, something bad would happen. You guys probably know that feeling, right? Yeah, when you know if you don't go, you're in trouble. Well, I decided to go. I took my kids and I went to my mom's house. I really didn't know what was about to happen, so I didn't take anything with us, which will lead to a future miracle I will get into later. That night, I called the one lady who I knew was firm in Christ, my lovely sister, Sharia. She had been praying for years for me to leave him and knew exactly why I heard the words in my head. I gave my life to the Lord that night. I did something I would never suggest doing. I basically demanded that if God wanted me to follow him, he would have to provide specific things. Like I said, I don't recommend putting demands on the Lord. I mean, you don't go around telling God what to do. But I was naive, and I didn't know any better. Fortunately, as he promises, he is faithful. Within a week, God did what I asked of him. This just goes to show that God can and will speak to you, even if you're on the bed smoking a blunt. And he will provide for you if your heart is sincere before him. Wouldn't you know, my kid's dad wouldn't give me any of my belongings back. I told God, possibly in a bossy way, that I couldn't move into the house that I just got if I didn't have any stuff. I really was just bossy, and just as looking back, I'm like, who did I think I was? At this time, though, I was very private. Nobody knew anything that was going on in my life, especially not at work. So I knew it was God, because the day after I signed my lease, a coworker announced that she had a friend who was moving into another state and getting rid of her whole house for free. That very night, that friend and her dad and her brother moved everything into my house for me. God provided it all. Beds, blankets, furniture, silverware, TVs, literally everything. I was astonished. I could not believe that God did what I asked him to do. This would just be the first time of many that God would blow me away with providing for my family.